Warning, the following program may contain harsh language that's not suitable for younger audiences. Discretion is advised.
Insert story. Use better of news on ID. A Wizard of Wor.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
InTariVaisions.
Atari, the fun is back.
It's the closest thing to the real thing.
Because your vision is our vision.
No other video game stacks up to Atari.
Welcome everyone to
Atari
this
left
episode of InTariVaisions. This is episode number 26. Yes, I looked it up early this time.
Nice.
Wizard of Wor. Awesome. As always, we have Rick. Has a healthiest obsession with Gore Wars Reynolds from Televisionaries podcast and the Holiday Special podcast. And we also have Ferg. I don't give a fuck about a Warluck from the Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast. Yes, I'm going to be cussing a lot in this one.
All right.
All right. So, what have you two been up to? We'll start with Rick. What have you been up to lately? Don't have to go back to the last time we recorded because God knows how long that's been. Just recently, what you been up to?
Well, let's see. I've been trying to. Well, I've been digging into chess again, which I know that's exciting.
Lord.
Yeah, I'm actually going to teach the chess merit badge at a Boy Scout event. They call it a merit badge university, where kids come together and you spend a day and you basically earn a merit badge in a day. So I'm going to be one of the teachers at this site at one of the local universities. I'm going to be teaching the chess badge. It's going to be super fun.
Well, that's awesome. I played a lot of chess when I was in middle school. I was in a chess club. I got beat up often, but
Oh no.
it was okay. I enjoyed it anyway. It's Rick has an advantage right now. I can no longer harass Rick about recording Space 1999 or Metrix Radio because I keep canceling on him. I just don't have the heart for it anymore. I'm just having one of those things.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ferg, what have you been up to recently besides recording episodes like a madman?
Madman?
Yeah, you're doing pretty good, man. Better than I am.
I did 2 last month.
Awesome.
And one of them was supposed to be in November, so I don't know how
You did
mad
Pitfall
that is.
2, which I love Pitfall 2.
Pitfall 2 was good. Yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to do Pitfall on here? Is that the next episode?
I think it might be. I think it was our plan, but who knows? We'll get to the end and discuss it. You never know what's going to happen.
You just never know what's going to happen. Well, there is that homebrew Pitfall 2 now on the Intellivision.
Right.
Okay.
I don't think it's on ColecoVision though.
I think what did I see on Pixel Boy's thing? I think it was the arcade Pitfall 2.
Well, yeah, that's
ColecoVision, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I guess we have to wait till someone makes a homebrew version of Pitfall 2 for the ColecoVision before we do it, because I love Pitfall 2.
All right, time's a wasting, guys. Let's get on the Pitfall 2.
Yeah.
Team Pixel Boy has to come out of retirement to do that one, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's too bad we already done a Demon Attack episode. You see, Demon Attack's coming out for the ColecoVision, so I'm looking forward to that.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not one of the secret games from the club. It's one of the games to entice people to join.
Oh,
The non-secret.
The non-secret game. The secret games have been phenomenal. Like, we can't talk about, but they've been phenomenal. But this one you can. Demon Attack. The box art looks incredible. So I'm all stoked for it. But we've already done the Demon Attack episode, so we're not going to rehash that thing. It is what it is. Anyway, what have I been up to? Well, besides the normal working and pulling my hair out, not a whole lot. Been doing some retro toy restorations lately. Keep my mind off things. Been building some Tamiya RC cars, that kind of stuff. Not making too many videos. I've kind of backed off on that. Putting priorities on other things now. I'm doing cars and my wife and Maximus the pug.
yeah.
YouTubing's fun, but boy, the retro gaming community can be toxic as hell.
I don't understand that. I don't.
Oh yeah, it really is. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Weird.
So I just don't. I just do things I enjoy now. But anyway,
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
gotta do what you gotta do.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Are you still collecting old Pong consoles, Rick?
You know, when if I find one at a show that looks like it needs a home, you know, I might take it home.
Oh, you're adopting those wayward Pong consoles.
Yeah, exactly.
I got this vision. He's walking through this game show, and there's just like this old Atari Pong sitting with these big sad eyes. Take me home, Rick. You know you want to play with my ball.
The last Korgs I went to, a guy just gave me one. So
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to send you one as well, which I think you'll probably like.
okay.
Yeah, so you'll get a surprise in the mail sometime very soon. So anyway, I'm cleaning stuff out of the game cave. I'm making room for other stuff. I got too much crap out here.
You know, Willie, my wife is not a fan when a package shows up with your stamp on it.
That's
Oh
funny.
no! Why'd he send now?
More stuff. What is going on?
What is this shit? Dang it! I finally sent Ferg something. It's been like, I think years since I've sent Ferg anything.
Yeah, but you don't need to do that. But it was really,
I
it's really
know.
cool.
Clean the stuff out, man. It's gotta get out of here. I don't like to sell that kind of stuff because
I understand. Yeah.
people, well, how come this does this? Or, well, I'm not the tech support team, man.
Yeah,
So I
right.
already sent it to you. You can play around with it. There we go.
yeah, it's awesome.
Anyway,
You can guess anyway. If you send me something, I'm not going to bug you about repairing it, right?
Right.
I might
Well,
bug you for advice on repairing it, but I'm not going to bug you to repair it.
you'd be surprised, man. People get after me for sending them stuff, and they have a problem and get after me about it. It's like, you got it for free, man. What the hell?
Yeah, it's weird.
Shit. It's like, dang it.
Come on, people, come on.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Wizard of Wor. Before we talk about Wizard of Wor, though, I want to do something different that we've not really done before.
Cool.
I gave up on trying to get emails sent into the show and everything. It never works. I guess the one listener we have just don't like to email us. I don't know.
He's done.
He's done. He's done with us, man. But I have been making video versions of the podcast. I can't remember when I started doing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, besides the audio version, which you can find on archive.org, I did check, Rick. I'm showing episodes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over at archive.org. So I don't know what's going on with that. It says it's there, but
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. But anyway,
Yeah, last time I looked in the RSS feed for the podcast, I didn't see
yeah.
them. So
yeah, it may not be an RSS feed. It's probably just on archive.org for some reason. Maybe something happened with that. I don't know. I don't even mess with that stuff anymore. I just chuck the stuff on archive.org, make a post. Hey, you want to listen to this crap? There you go. But I have been making video versions of the podcast as well. The last one we did was Donkey Kong Jr., which is episode 25, which is a very fun episode to do. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And we got 3 comments on that video. Yay, we got 3 viewers. It's awesome. One we got here from Jeffrey Halat. If I mispronounce your name, you can get after me. I don't care.
get over it. Yeah.
I love the original Donkey Kong series 1, Junior, and 3. Now, how do you feel your age? Talking to people at work mentioning Donkey Kong 1 and 2 and 3 when they're young and playing, and he thought 3 wasn't great. I told him 3 was a combination of Donkey Kong and Galaga. Look at me in a strange face and tell me we were talking about Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, well, past my video game days. Lol. Donkey Kong 3 was kind of weird. They're shooting that bug spray at the bugs.
Right.
That was
Randy
kind of
the Bug
strange.
Man.
Game. Yeah. Goofy Foot. I like that name.
Yeah.
I really love this Donkey Kong Jr. conversion. Brought back a lot of great memories of Coleco and the Atari 2600, and a ton of disappointment.
Oh yeah.
I think we
That's
discussed
Donkey Kong
that.
Jr. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Carnival. Then we have ADM 712. I enjoyed the discussion about the Coleco boxes with the arcade cabinets. back in the day, Coleco were marketing geniuses with this strategy, and I think it's part of the reason why ColecoVision did so much better than Atari 5200. In my opinion, was a superior machine at the time. Oh yeah, 5200 has a little bit more horsepower than ColecoVision does, but I don't give a rat's ass about hardware. I just like the games.
Yeah.
Well, I love my Dreamcast, but I love my Xbox. I love my PS2. I love my GameCube. It's the games that draw me, not the hardware. So
Yeah.
Right.
I don't give a rat's ass about hardware.
I mean, how many times have we on this show, I'm sure, said, we talk about the Atari 2600 and say, it doesn't look so great, but the gameplay's there, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
That's the issue.
Well, in this episode, Ferg has an automatic win because he's the only console that had a version of 2600
Right.
Wizard of War back then.
Right.
Wasn't on television, wasn't on ColecoVision, only the 2600, and of course it was on the 5200 and some other consoles. But we're going to talk about the three on this show. Otherwise, it would be called Intari Comedy of Love, Envisions or whatever. You want big ass long name like Mr. Missile from Superman. Yeah, I get a lot of flack for that too. Why we don't cover our consoles? It's like 2600 television, ColecoVision.
Yeah,
Three-
I mean, we reference it sometimes.
We reference
Some-
yes,
And
yes.
sometimes the quaint Odyssey 2.
That's right.
The
Charming.
Charming Odyssey
I
2.
love the Odyssey. Odyssey, Casey Munchkin, Casey Crazy Chase. Those are my games. That's my jam.
They are
Oh,
fun. Yeah.
That's very
On
fun.
there, man. I love that little console. It's very rudimentary. It's got very rudimentary graphics and sounds, but man, the games are just so much fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
At
Hey,
least my simple mind they are, but
if these guys are, wanting a second generation of this podcast, they can do one. Go for
Yep.
it. That's no problem.
yeah, there we go. Yeah. I'd be more than happy to promote that. Yeah. But before we get into Wizard of War, I want to read. We did get an email.
Oh, okay, good.
I want to read that. I want to read that real quick. And of course, like a dummy, being prepared as I am, I didn't bring up the email in my on my computer, so I gotta type it in. Yeah, it's just, I'm not going to edit this fucking podcast, man. I don't give a damn.
No.
I'm just going to let it fly with all these little mistakes and
Gripping radio of people pulling up emails.
yeah, pulling up the
stuff.
emails. It's like that damn Willie. He's gotten so bad at podcasting now.
Listen as Willie pulls up an email and Rick takes another drink.
It's like whatever happened to ColecoVision's podcast, man? That was a fun podcast. This dude. It's like, well, Willie got sick of doing it. That's what happened. I had enough. After the Chameleon, I said, "Fuck this shit."
Yeah. I can't blame you for
It's
that.
enough to put a taste in your mouth. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I don't want the Arcade US email. I want my Atari, but you mother son of a. I'll use my phone. Yeah, it's on my phone. There we go. I
Willie has
forgot
a
it.
love-hate relationship with his email.
Yes, I do. There it is. Haha. I don't want to forget this. This was from Nostalgic for the 70s, or this is a friend of the show, David, who does the Atari 5200 podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Cool.
he does that now. It's a fun podcast to listen to. I'm glad he started doing it because RK and I we just kind of burnt out on doing it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to do that when we did, especially those little skits we used to do. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, those are fun.
Anyway, sorry. Oh wait a minute, you sent 2 emails. Oh cool. Hey, oh yeah. Wow, I'm feeling really good now. I got 2 emails from the same person, but I got 2 emails.
Feeling the
Great.
love.
All right, here we go. It's a long email, so bear with me here. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. Thanks for keeping this podcast going. I know it's amazing, isn't it? Wizard of Wor is one of my all-time favorite games, and I played it whenever I could at the arcade. Yeah, so did I, quite a bit. From the speech, colorful mazes, to the heart-thumping music that would get faster and faster. It really got you going back then. This was the first CBS Electronics game I had, and the first game I reviewed back in 2016 on the 5200 podcast. That's right, he did. Many fond memories of my brother and I playing for hours in 2-player cooperative mode. Although once in a while we killed each other, each other due to friendly fire, it was never friendly for me. I tried to play 2-player with my brother and my friends, but it always resulted in me killing them for extra points. So don't play Wizard of Wor with Willie. You will not live.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I lost my place. Here we go. One technique we used was standing back to back and firing at anything that comes at us from the dreaded Warlock is so fast and Grow War and Throw War were no slashes either. That is a good strategy. Stand back to back in one of those longer hallways. I used to do that too. Then I'd turn around and shoot my friend. The 1500 port had it all, but sadly no speech. Yeah, no. Just like the computer version, which I played a lot of, the 800 XL, the DEMS. A good version of Wizard of Wor, but it didn't have the speech. Would have been really cool if it did. But
That's weird that it doesn't, since Berserk has it.
I know.
Yeah.
It would be so cool if they would have done for Wizard of Wor too. I mean, it's great it's in Berserk, but it would have been really cool if it was in Wizard of Wor for the 5200.
Yeah.
Okay. Today I spend more time with the Champ Games Wizard of Wor arcade version that has all the speech thanks to the Atari box. When I do play 1500 version from time to time, I use my modded Atari Jaguar controller with D-pad controls. Oh, wow. We sent a picture. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So he's got a Atari Jaguar controller that's been converted to work with the Atari 5200, which that's actually kind of a neat way to control the 5200.
Yeah.
Good idea. And then he has a little follow-up email here. Sorry, I forgot to mention this in my first email. If I had a C64 version of Wizard of Wor with the Commodore Magic Voice module, then the C64 version would have been the best version of the game on 8-bit back in the 80s. Yes, it would have been. Here's a link to a video you can hear the voice during gameplay. No freezing of the screen. The module handles the voice, so it's just like the arcade. Yeah, I've tried the Commodore 64 version. It's actually really good. I don't have the speech thing, but it's actually a good version of the game. So I just imagine if you had that magic card, it'd be just like having the arcade game at home. I'll make sure I post a link to that video so other people would see it. I'm very bad at posting, links and stuff too.
I wonder, there's got to be an emulator that does that, right? That has the speech thing in it.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Was that a piece of hardware? That wasn't a software layer?
Well, I think it was a piece of hardware.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was all hardware back then.
On Commodore 64 stuff because I used the Atari 800 computers.
Yeah.
So it must be hardware because he's referring to it like not freezing the screen or whatever, right? So
it had to be hardware, yeah. Which would be kind of cool if it froze the screen, though. It'd give you a chance to recuperate and get away from me trying to shoot you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Commodore 64 for years and years, but I didn't have a lot of this hardware extra stuff. I never had an REU or this voice module thing. I didn't have any of that stuff.
So you're the Commodore expert on the show from now on. There we go.
I was the nerd at school that had the computer at home, right, and did all my papers on the computer at home. And I used that Commodore 64 through my first year of college. I love that machine.
Oh, yeah, I used my 800 all the way through college as well, writing papers and stuff on it. Mm-hmm. I used getting onto the library computer at the illustrious speed of 300 baud.
Right. I had a 300 baud modem. Yeah.
Go eat dinner while waiting for some information to come down the line for me to work on. Anyway, yeah, I remember those days with the modems, the BBSs. Oh, I love going on BBSs. I used to be on this one where I went by the handle. The evil guy from Doctor Who.
Oh crap! I can't remember.
Oh, dang it.
The Master.
The Master. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Doctor Who. I watch Doctor Who all the time. Had a lot of fun on the BBSs being the Master. Anyway, for the Wizard of Wor high score run I did back on October 22nd, where I live streamed me playing all the versions of Wizard of Wor for this show that we were supposed to record on October 22nd.
True. That is true.
But things happen beyond all of our control, unfortunately, yes. So, trying to get all of us together is like, trying to wrestle a bunch of cats in a bag. It's near impossible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ferg has his baking stuff going on. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Rick's got his stuff going on with the scouts and things like that. And Paul just freaking hates me for some reason. But anyway, we all try to get. Matter of fact, Paul's not here tonight. He blew me off yet again.
He's out hobnobbing tonight.
Willie wants to be on his podcast. I'm going over here instead, buddy. Yeah. But anyway, no, he's doing research for the Intellivisionaries, which is awesome. I don't really listen to that show anymore. I need to listen to it again.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I don't listen to any podcast anymore. I've really burned out bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm doing a lot of rambling. I guess it's that. Oh, what's that? I don't remember eating this. But anyway.
No.
Oh. We got some comments on the high score run for Wizard of Wor as well. So I figure we'll read through those real quick.
Okay.
Just to add some substance to the show. A lot of people keep asking, how can we get no feedback? Or read other things? Well, because I don't really get any. But anyway. Ian Hunter. Hey, Willie. I can't remember seeing a bad port of this game. It delivers on all systems, in my opinion. I own the C64 version and it still has as challenging as the date was released. Thanks for the video. Yes, the C64 version is very challenging. Oh, I forgot. John Shampoo, the guy who created Wizard of Wor Arcade for the 2600. I love his stuff. I used to get his games on the 3.5 inch or 3.25 inch hard floppy. Look like Star Trek things. We did like Champ Kong. Yeah, that's one. Champ Kong, Champ Galaxia, Champ Pankum. I had all those. I still got them here somewhere.
Yeah, I do too.
Discs. Man, I thought those were the bomb. Anyway, he said, "Great score of Wizard of Wor Arcade, Willie. Thanks for playing. P.S. I have a mixer that I use to combine the Atari box with a modded 2600, so you get the game sound and voice combined into one signal. Works really well.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like to do that to mine. I need to do that to mine.
Yeah, well, that Atari box puts out, on a standard, headphone jack, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it seems like you could pass that through something and mix it with the sound from this 2600 pretty easily, I think.
I used to have a heavy sixer here that I modded to have stereo speakers in it. That would have been kind of cool putting that. Come right out of the 2600.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I sold it. Jeffrey Halat. Say all you want about the limitations of the 2600. But it was way cool back in the day to be able to play arcade games at home on 2600. I miss those simple days. I miss those simple days too. Because I'm a very simple Willie. Over the hood of my car, like, what the fuck is all this shit again? I want to go back to points and condenser and that stuff I know how to do, man. Anyway.
Where's the distributor cap? I don't know what's happening.
What is this thing? You don't check ignition coils using your tongue like a 9-volt battery. Does not work well.
Oh, gosh.
Wizards with Machinery. Just said, good luck, Willie. Thank you. I need it because, I don't play games worth a darn. Anu Shaj. So great Wizard of Wor got a 2600 and Intellivision by CBS Electronics and with a collector vision as well. We'll put Wizard of Wor for ColecoVision since 94. Seen the poster. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All over. So I have a 1980 Azrak Hamway baseball game. What? Has nothing to do with Wizard of Wor. That's how much is what? I don't know how much it is, man. I don't even know what that is, man. It's an electronic game of some kind. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Here's let's see what blah blah. Okay, there we go. That's all the okay, good. Okay. That's enough of that shenanigans. Where's the document? I lost it. There it is. Okay. Oh, I thought we'd just have a little bit of fun there, reading all these little comments and stuff. So it'll be kind of interesting what shows up next month after this fine, whatever you want to call it. Anyway. Berg, let's start off with the arcade version.
All right. So, Wizard of Wor is a 1980 arcade game from Midway, developed by Tom McHugh and Dave Nutting of Dave Nutting Associates. It uses a Votrax SC-01 speech synthesis chip, which is a bit hard to understand, but there's a lot of phrases in the game. The monitor is oriented horizontally instead of vertically, and it was the first or one of the first early games to allow extra lives by inserting more quarters. You got 2 for a quarter or 5 for 2 quarters. You can play 1 player versus AI opponent or 2-player co-op, but you can shoot the other player, as we've already seen. Your player is called a warrior. It always looks like warrior to me, and it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, you have misspelled it there. It's not a
Well,
warrior.
yeah, they should be worrying. If I'm in the maze with you, you should be worrying.
Wait, how do you
not
spell it?
It's got an OR on the end. It's
Oh, sorry.
an ER is someone who worries a lot.
That's
All right.
appropriate. That's appropriate.
Yeah. maybe it changed it by automatically. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Okay, so your player is called the warrior and has to go through a maze to kill various monsters that appear. Most of these monsters can be invisible at times, but will appear in the basic radar screen at the bottom. They will become visible when your warrior is in the same corridor as the monster. Once all the monsters are destroyed, you advance to the next maze. The monsters include Burwar is a blue wolf who is always visible, the rest are invisible. Garwar is a yellow dinosaur, and Thorwar is a red scorpion that moves quickly through the maze. 2 other monsters will occasionally appear when you defeat the others. A Warlock is a moth that flies around the maze quickly. If the Warlock isn't defeated, it can escape the maze through the escape doors on either side of the maze. The warriors can also pass through the doors to wrap around to the other side of the maze. Once a door is used by any character, the door will be inoperable for a few moments.
Depending on the board.
Depending on the board. If the Warlock escapes or is defeated, the Wizard of Wor himself can appear. He teleports around the maze and is intermittently invisible. He will stay in the maze until he is killed or has killed one of the warriors. See, now that one... Okay. The mazes are simple, but the walls will be in different places each time. There are special mazes that are more difficult. The arena has an open area in the middle of the maze, and the pit has no interior walls, and that thing is a pain in the butt.
Yes, it is.
The game was not a big hit, but nevertheless, it was ported to many systems at the time, including the Bally Astrocade, which at the time was widely considered to be the definitive version. And it's still being ported today, which is why we are doing this show.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw Wizard of Wor at my local arcade. I loved how it talked and it laughed and ta.
Right.
It
Yep.
just cracked me up. And I really enjoyed the game. And, from day one, I was killing all my friends. It was so fun. That's all I did on the game. I just went around killing my buddies. Anyway, when was the first time you saw the arcade version, Rick?
So I don't remember. We've talked about this many times on the show. I don't remember the first time for anything, but
He's got arcade Alzheimer's.
I do remember this arcade game. So, if I could please pull up a couch, lay down here, and you guys can be my therapist for a minute, okay?
Let me talk about Christmas Carol, man.
No. No. So, I grew up in a very fundamentalist style church, okay? And I grew up believing very much that these demonic forces were literal real things. And I have memories of this game literally being, I don't know if I should mess with that kind of a thing. It'd be in the arcade, I'd see it, and I'd be like, that might be a step too far. I don't know if I want to play with that thing. I didn't literally think the machine was going to hurt me or anything, but there was an element of it where I was kind of like, maybe I shouldn't touch this if I'm going to be a good Sunday school going boy. So
I've been possessed by a warlock.
So, I mean, it's insane to say that today. I understand that, but it was a game that was super intimidating with the art on the side and the way things looked and whatever. So I remember distinctly seeing this game and it being one of those games that those older teenage boys used to play, and being super intimidated by it. And then I think by the time I was old enough that I would go, wait a minute, what are we talking about? I think it was a time, by the time I got old enough, it was out of the arcades and I had moved on to other things. So I remember playing it a little bit, but I don't have a lot of solid memories of playing this game just because the imagery, I think on some level frightened me. That it sounds insane to say this.
Well, you're a kid,
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah, but that's my history with this game. So it has this air of mystery for me. So when I got a main cab together, I'm like, I'm playing this game. What's going on here? I want to figure out what's going on with this game. So I have played it some, as an adult, but yeah, I don't have a lot of memories as a kid loving this game or being whatever, because I was just intimidated by it, quite frankly.
That's cool. What about you, Ferg?
I don't know if I played this when I was a kid. I don't remember it from then. I mean, I could have played it, but I'm not good at this game at all. I always get
Is
shot.
anyone?
Yeah. We'll see, I guess, at the end. But yeah, I think the first time I really started playing it was when I got it for the 2600 in the 90s. That's when I first started playing it.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't want to play it at Crabtown. Yeah.
What's that?
I noticed that. You didn't want to play it at Crabtown, USA. I noticed
Did
that.
they have it there?
Yes, they did. I tried to
They
get you to
did?
play it, but you wouldn't play it with me.
Well, judging by what you were saying before, it's probably a good thing I didn't.
Right.
No, because I would have
Gonna kill
thoroughly
you.
enjoyed killing you in that maze.
Okay, I thought they just had Gorf. I could have sworn that I remember hearing. Jeez. I could have sworn I remembered hearing the. Oh God, what's the name of the song? The Dragnet song. It has a name. I can't remember. But
Danger
here-
Ahead?
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
But I thought I remember hearing that recently. But I checked Crabtown's list and they don't have it on there. Maybe they don't have it anymore, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Dang.
How about you, Willie? You've already talked about how you shot all your friends, so.
Yep.
Well, I already said how I saw it. Yeah, I saw it in the arcade. I just said that story before I asked you to. First time I saw it, it was doing that ta 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 ta.
Right.
That's what drew me to the game. I heard it when I walked through the door. I was like, "What the hell is that?" So I went and played it, enjoyed it, discovered you could shoot your other player, got my buddies to play me, and I promptly killed them. It was glorious. Anyway.
For more with a Wizard of Wor.
I'm John Madden for CBS Video Games. I've got a great money-back offer for you. But first, watch this exciting competition in the CBS Video Games Challenge of Champions. Today's challengers, arcade aces, Tony Sarkis against Ray Johnson. The game, Wizard of Wor, new from CBS Video Games. The object, defeat the wizard, his henchmen, and your opponent. Tony hits water. He misses Ray. Ray fires at the wizard. The wizard zapped Tony. Ray Johnson wins. Wizard of Wor, new from CBS Video Games.
Are you up to the challenge?
You've seen how challenging Wizard of Wor is. Now we'll bet your money back that Wizard is tougher than you are. Buy it, and after 3 days, if you think otherwise, return it to your participating dealer with your receipt and get your money back. How can we make this money back offer? Because we know how tough this game is. But maybe you're not up to the challenge.
Now we're going to start with the original packaging. Like I said, only 2600 had it, so it wins automatically the show. So we're going to talk about, well, for the original.
Oh, the original.
We got 2 awards tonight: the original release stuff and the homebrew stuff. So we got 2 awards tonight. You automatically win the first one because your system is the only one that got a translation of it we're covering in the show.
Okay.
Because otherwise, the Bally Cave would win.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
Yeah,
box
I
art.
believe that is true, yes.
The box art. So, Ferg, start off with the box art since this is your.
Yeah, this is really, I like this box art very much. It shows the wizard and I'm guessing the warlock, and they're kind of surrounding a TV screen, which has I guess it's a painting of what the actual screen looks like. It's not the exact, it's not a screenshot or anything, but interpretation. That's the word. But it looks really good. It kind of looks like a D&D manual type of thing going on,
Yeah,
it does.
That was the time for that too. The whole, like satanic panic, like Rick was talking about.
Right, exactly. I wasn't allowed to play D&D either. Just
And on the back, it's more of is it the same one? The same picture? Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it's the
looks like it
same
is.
one. They just put some effects on the cover, the one on the cover. So it's the same interpretation, just a little different looking.
I thought it was interesting looking to the back that I don't know, my eye gets drawn to like typographical errors and silly things like that. The second paragraph down, it says, next, destroy visible and invisible Garward.
Well,
the I and the N are both capitalized in that sentence.
they want to
yeah.
emphasize it.
It's invisible.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that before.
It's funny.
And also one of the few early games to have a UPC on the back too, I think.
Yeah. It's a cool looking black box.
It is. Yeah. The CBS games are, for the most part, I think the CBS games are underrated. It's mostly arcade games that they did, and they're really, really good versions of the arcade game. For the time, this is good. Gorf was really good.
Mega Race wasn't too bad, even though you had that extra little trigger thing you had to use.
Yes. And what was the other one? Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but that was the first. I think the first time I was exposed to these games was because of the CBS versions of them. Like Wizard of Wor, like I said, and Gorf. I don't remember them from when I was a kid, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah. Well, the artwork is outstanding.
The artwork is really good. Yeah.
I love the wizard with that. Looks like a serpent face.
Yep.
Or dragon face.
Yeah.
It's
really good.
Yep.
Was this one of your early episodes for the podcast you did?
Yeah, I think Gorf and Wizard of Wor came out first.
Right.
In 82. So I did them together, back when
That's right.
Them.
I remember that. Yeah. It was one of the very early ones you did.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, let's move down to the Wizard of Wor arcade and get 2600.
Well, do you guys have anything else to say about it?
I already said what I said about it.
All right. Rick, you have anything else?
No, yeah. It's really good art, like you said. That view of like you said, I guess it's the Warlock. It looks really, really menacing, really good. Like this is decent art.
Yep.
That's no moth. That's a bat.
Right.
What was gargoyle looking thing?
Yeah. It does evoke gargoyle. You're right.
I mean, they should have put Mothman on there or something. Would have been more appropriate. Anyway, Wizard of Wor arcade by Cheb Games. What about that box, Ferg?
I didn't write down who did the art. I forgot to do that, but this art is based more on the actual sprites and in the game, because you have the Garwar there, the scorpion guy.
Yep.
The Thor-War.
Right.
Yeah. And you have your guy who's there's one on the back, one on the front, one's yellow, one's blue in the game. You have the blue maze, which I think was, and then the wizard I think was mostly blue as well. In the arcade, they're more, they have more colors in them, but in most of the games, I think a lot of them are just one color, but that doesn't really take anything away from it. And you have you have a bunch of screenshots on the back, and the Wizard of Wor arcade. The font is from the arcade game too.
It's a very colorful box.
It's nicely done. Yeah, very nicely done. I think.
Be a pretty awesome poster.
Yep.
What do you think about that box, Rick?
Well, yeah. How can you disagree, right? It's really good. It bright colors jumping out at you. They probably felt like they had to, get some original art for this thing, right? Because the 2600 already had this game, and they don't want to even stylistically, I would think, pull off the original. They want to do something. Pull off the former one. They want to do something original. Right. And it does a really good job. And it's a very modern box in the sense that, like, it shows you a bunch of screenshots on the back, which is, I think, what most buyers today, when they're looking like, am I going to buy this homebrew? What does it look like? And, they see it there. And it's well done from that perspective, too. So, yeah, this is great box art.
Well, one of the things I like what Champ Games does is he releases demo ROMs of his games before they come out. So you can actually get to try them out and see if you're going to want them or not.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love that.
Yeah. applies to all of these versions. I've literally bought CIB versions of all of these. So except for the CBS original Atari, I have all the homebrews, all three systems. I bought the game inbox, perhaps because of things I mentioned earlier, that this is a mysterious game for me. So.
Yeah, I got them all complete in the box except the Intellivision homebrew. That one I just bought the ROM only.
Yeah. Me being an Intellivision collector, I of course had to get.
Oh yeah, totally understandable.
Yep. Dave Dries is the guy who did the art for this.
Ooh.
I just wanted to make sure got a shout out here. Really
Awesome.
Really
Yeah, it's very good artwork.
Yeah, if we haven't said it on the show before, Champ Games is knocking it out of the park over and over and over again on the Atari. It's just amazing.
Yeah. With quick kicks and Robotrons and other ones. It's crazy. Anyway, now we're going to talk about the Intellivision homebrew box. Take it away, Rick.
Yeah, well, this one they kind of took the artwork for the original Atari release, and kind of I think the idea was they were
change
trying
the
to
colors a little bit. You know?
Yeah. I think they're trying to make it look like if this had come out back in the day, this is what CBS Electronics might have done.
Yeah.
And so it's got that. It looks retro in a sense, right? It looks like it might have been something you would have seen on the shelf back in '82 or whatever. It has a screenshot on the back showing you the screen of what the Intellivision will make it look like, and but as good as the original Atari 2600 version is, this one is too, because it's pretty much mimicking it pretty strongly.
Yeah,
I really liked how they put the nice graphic on the cartridge itself. I love cartridges that show artwork and stuff on them from the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first party cards didn't really do that for Intellivision, did they?
No.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I like the overlays also they included.
Yeah, well, that I'm sorry to just step back a step. That shell is a newer shell,
right?
The original Intellivision shells had that kind of angled front end on them that just give you room to put a sticker for the title. They didn't give you this picture area. So,
unfortunately,
but some other didn't Activision do that? Did they have a label, like a front label?
Yeah, I think Activision did. But the cart we have a picture of there in the notes is a modern, redone shell. Yeah,
gotcha.
It's not. I'm sorry, it's not a reused shell from original. It is a new shell that the homebrewers have made for these cards.
Right.
Awesome. I guess I get to talk about the ColecoVision box.
Yep.
And I didn't look up who did the artwork on this one. I feel so bad. Anyway, yeah, this was done by Team Pixel Boy, the Wizard of Wor, or the ColecoVision. I love this artwork as well. It shows both players standing back to back. Like David was talking about how he played.
Yeah.
Fighting off where's that one buzzard guy? I thought he's supposed to be a wolf. He looks like a hawk. Anyway.
Yeah.
Gorwar looks like little Tyrannosaurus. That's kind of cool. You got the wizard in the background. You got the warlock who looks like a moth, which is awesome. Kudos for that. It has a really cool full color label on its cartridge as well. Unfortunately, I don't remember what's on the back of the box. There's no back of the box picture on here, which is okay.
It's got.
I could find one.
That's
I've got the box. I got the box in my hand there, Willie.
I've got it too, but I'm too lazy to walk over to get it.
I brought them all up here to my office to do the show. No, it's got two screenshots. One showing that screen where it shows all the different enemies and how many points they're worth, and the other is a screenshot showing the maze.
Awesome. Of course, this one has like the Midway label on it as well in the front, which is kind of cool. It does require the Super Game module, or if you got a Phoenix Collector Vision, it'll work on it without the Super Game module.
Yep.
It's a real good version. I really like this box art. Not as much as I like the 2600 homebrew box art. I think that's my favorite of the three, is that one. What do you think of this box art, Ferg?
I like it, but I think I agree with you. I like the Atari, the homebrew one better. It kind of reminds me of like a Game Boy Advance game, the packaging.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Rick? What do you think of this box art?
Well, this is an interesting, like original piece of art showing Wizard of Wor. It's got the guys back to back. It's got the maze behind them, kind of in a 3D perspective, and the different enemies. Cartoony looking, but not overly cartoony looking. Yeah, it's really good. I like it a lot. I like that action scene going on there. It is tough though to beat the Champ Games artwork on the 2600. That one might edge it out, but not by much. I mean, this is pretty cool too.
It's pretty cool too. Oh man,
for sure.
Oh man, that's got a great idea for the show thumbnail for this. I need to scan my box in. I can Photoshop Ferg's face onto the wizard. I can Photoshop Rick as the blue guy there. Then I can Photoshop me as the yellow guy, but turn around as I shoot Rick in the back.
That sounds appropriate.
That would be awesome. I might have to try to do that. Anyway, now we're going to look at the video graphics of these games. The original 2600 game, Ferg.
Okay, well, it's very plain, as you would guess. You still have the radar at the bottom, which works pretty well. The extra guys are along the bottom instead of up the sides. I think that they were in the arcade game.
Right.
Crap, what was I going to say? Everything is one color. You got blue, red, or yellow. I think that's pretty much it for the colors, or different shades of blue. There's no indication that the doors are open or shut with different colors. It's just open or shut. You just got to watch out. I was going to say one other thing, and I can't remember what it was now. I don't know. It's not... the sprites are one color, but they're pretty well detailed, I think. They look pretty good. Oh, the flickering.
Oh, well, that's a given.
Yeah, it's a given, but it's just the enemies that flicker, and they don't. I tried to get them to be on the same line, and it doesn't seem like they dim when they're on the same line. It seems like they have some sort of built-in flicker or something. And when you start out, there's 4 guys, and 2 of them flicker at a different rate than the other 2 for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if that has something to do with making sure that your player doesn't flicker, but I couldn't see where the player you play as is flickering at all. So
they're having flicker performance problems. They can't turn invisible all the time. So
right.
They have to take a pill for that or something.
You have, I think in the second screen, there's 6, moving around independently, and you're going to have flicker there.
Graphically, for the limitations of the 2600, the programmers did a really good job presenting the graphics themselves. Even though it looks like the player is walking around with a certain member, it's a limitation, of what they could do with the sprites and everything, which, they should have raised up a little bit higher, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. But graphically, it's you see it, you see Wizard of Wor. It's recognizable. It's a good looking game for the 2600. Not too bad.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Rick?
Yeah, so the guy looks a little blobby. He's a little, I don't know, less defined. Like I want to see a little bit something. And of course, the Champ Games one that comes later does a lot better job with defining the guy. But I was decently impressed, honestly, with this. The different enemies look different, more or less. I mean, it's the same sprite for the Burr War or the Gar War. They just changed the color.
I did not even notice that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it either.
I'm like, the Gar War's supposed to be different, right? I'm not sure. So that's kind of funny. But and when I don't know if this is under gameplay or graphics, but the Warlock, when he's flying around, his wings, they're going up and down, but it looks like arms. It looks like he's having a seizure or something. He's spazzing as he walks around the screen. Let's see here. So, again, I'm not sure where to place this, but like it's not necessarily graphical detail, but you mentioned the graphical doors open and closing. They're colored the same as the background maze, but timing wise, they just keep opening and closing. I don't think they follow the gameplay element of when you go through, it's supposed to say closed for a while.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
they just keep opening and closing the whole time, so it's like well, we'll talk about it in gameplay, I guess, more than anything else. But let's see. I like the wizard when he shows up. He looks pretty cool. He's single color still, but it has that element of excitement when the wizard shows up, just like you'd expect, which is kind of cool. I'm trying to think about other graphical things that would make sense to talk about here. Yeah, I mean, it's decently good. It's low res. It's low, it's got it's a 2600 game. You're gonna see what you're gonna see. The only thing that jumped out at me is like, wow, they probably could have done a better job with that. Was the guy? The guy looks a little blobby, he could be more defined, but I don't have a lot of complaints about it as a 2600, graphical representation.
Cool. All right.
Now let's move on to the homebrew 2600 version by Champ Games. Take it away, Ferg.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. This one is
you got to do it twice. You got to do it twice.
Obviously, much better. You have a title screen. You have the get ready things overlaying the mazes. You have the different. The mazes look a little bit better. I mean, it wasn't really that. The arcade game was kind of blocky too for the maze, but. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if it's because it's thicker or something. It just looks a little better, or there's less the blue bars in there. The extra guys are still underneath, but that that doesn't really mean anything.
No.
It does look a lot more like the arcade game. You have the door. The doors have the little red arrows, so you know which way you're going. The guy looks better. It doesn't look as blobby, like Rick said.
Very well defined guy.
Yeah. I can't remember if in the game it's different colors. Is it? I think it is. I think they're different colors. But yeah, everything
avatar?
Looks. What's that?
You mean your avatar?
Yeah, your guy is a couple different colors instead of just one.
I thought he was still single color in this one. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I know on the title screen there, it's a little bit
colors
different.
in the title screen.
Colors,
yeah. I thought the ColecoVision was the first one that had multicolor on the.
On the maybe. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. But yeah, they did a really good job graphics wise on here, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, graphically it looks really nice. Like you said, the title screen is very well done. The mazes, the critters, your guy you're playing, they're all very well defined. They actually put the gun a little higher up, so it doesn't look as obscene. I mean, as an Easter egg, I would have done some kind of special key combination to drop that gun down lower, just to pay homage to the original one. Just as a joke, But anyway, it's actually very good looking.
Yeah. So I just checked the video by a guy named on YouTube, Arcade USA.
Oh,
and
that guy, sure.
Yeah. In the game, your avatar is one color, so they just did that for the title screen.
You think I would remember that because I just played the freaking game today. So now let's take a look at the Intellivision homebrew screen. Let Rick start with this one.
What? The Atari?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about you.
I just have a couple of notes. Nothing major. I mean, Ferg talked about it. I agree with you, Ferg. The maze is not much different, than the original, but it doesn't need to be, right? Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it's fine. Much less flicker. I don't know how they did it, but the guys don't flicker the way they did in the original.
Right.
And the sprites for the enemies and stuff, they're all very distinct. It looks really good. Like, your guy looks very much different, and you could see there's a helmet. He's got, you can see his arm holding the gun, and there's just a lot to it that really jumps off the screen and says, "This is Wizard of Wor." It's really well done. I did say single color sprites for you and all the enemies except the Warlock and the Wizard are multicolor, which is cool. So yeah, I mean, it's really good. The only thing on the screen that jumps out at you like, huh, is this a 2600? Is the arrows that are pointing to the sides. They're pretty big blocky arrows.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. But like, you know, who cares about that particular graphical flourish, right? Like that's not a gameplay element at all. But that's the only thing on it that makes you think, is this 1970s hardware? So, the rest of it looks great. It's really good.
Yeah, it's I was looking at it earlier. I think from what I remember, it's 4 times bigger or 8 times bigger than the original Atari game, and they use a melody board. I'm not sure what the melody board is. I've heard of it, but it's a new board that Atari Age did to improve graphics and stuff.
Has some extra horsepower on it.
Yeah.
So you mean 8 times? You mean just in terms of ROM space?
32K versus 4.
Yeah. Awesome.
So now we can talk about the Intellivision homebrew. All right. Screen.
Yeah, sure. The graphics. So it has that cool screen there that Ferg put in the doc here, showing how you pick your players or whatever. With that font, which is kind of cool. It looks a lot like the font, from the arcade and the one that the 2600 arcade used. So they're kind of pulling that in. It doesn't have the same kind of motif going on, but they did pull in a graphic that uses the font, which is cool looking. The graphics now, it's sort of a step up, but not quite a step up, I think, from the Champ Games one. Like the graphic, the enemies all very much have a distinct look. You can see the walls in the maze kind of have beam looks about them, if you will. Like they're not just straight lines. There's like a points at the corners where they're joining. You can kind of see the gap there. I don't know. It just looks like the arcade does,
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, I think. The one thing I did notice about that is like your warrior, the gun that's sticking out there, looks like he's carrying like a carnival hammer for like.
It does.
He's about to do one of those strongman hammer things.
Or it's the vacuum attention from Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. He's going out hunting ghosts with Luigi. That sounds about right. Yeah. That one jumps out. It looks a little hokey. Like I think the Champ Games version of that same element looks a little better than the way the Intellivision shows that. That one jumped out at me. It's kind of funny. I think it's worse when he's moving side to side maybe than up and down, like because the sprite has to change a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny, but overall the sprites are all single color, like we've mentioned, the way the others were, and that's true. I think except for the Warlock and the Wizard again. So the thing that jumps out at you when you start playing is, unfortunately, the radar screen. All the blips on it are one color, so you can't. It doesn't have the yellow color to indicate the Gar War, and the red color to indicate the Third War. It's just all a blue blip. Which I don't know. It's and I understand why. That's a limitation of Intellivision background graphics. You only get one foreground color, one background color. So I get that, but it is a gameplay element that's kind of like because the Atari had different colors in the radar, for example.
Yeah.
And of course the ColecoVision will too. But it's so that's kind of a thing. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good.
Why is the guy red?
Who's the guy that's red?
The player is red, isn't it? On the right,
he's kind of orange. You're saying he's kind of orange in that shot?
Orange, whatever. Yeah. Isn't he supposed to be blue?
Yeah. Well, he's yellow or blue, right? So
yeah.
I assume this is meant to be the yellow color. I don't know where you got the screenshot, why he's looking like that. I don't remember him looking that way.
Yeah, because the yellow guy's in the dock there.
Right.
Weird.
Weird. Well, I like how the critters are defined, especially the Thor War.
Yeah.
Little scorpion guy. He looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the other ones so far have looked, the red one has not looked like a scorpion per se. He's just looked like another thing that's red. Here he starts to look a lot more like a scorpion.
Yep. Same with the Gore War too. That looks like little Tyrannosaurus with the Charlie Brown grin.
Yeah, right.
Rats. So now we'll talk about the ColecoVision homebrew graphics. Graphically, this game looks really, really awesome. Very, very close to looking like the arcade with the multicolored player on here. The critters are really well defined. Team Pixelboy did a pretty good job of trying to graphically represent the game on the ColecoVision. I believe this has, if I remember right, has the same problem with the radar as the Intellivision one, when it's all one color. They're not different colors for the different critters.
Oh, I didn't remember that. You might be right. I don't have a note about that. So.
I thought I remember seeing that when I was playing it today, trying to get a better high score than I did in October. But anyway, graphically, I really like this version of the game. What do you think about it, Rick?
Well, yeah, the ColecoVision has the resolution to really mimic the arcade screen well. You know, your guy has enough definition that he looks like the arcade screen warrior.
Warrior.
The various enemies have enough definition to separate them, so they don't you're not getting away with just using the same sprite for two different colors for an enemy anymore. And it looks really good. Like, yeah, when I played this and pulled it up, I'm like, wow, yeah, this is really really looking like the arcade game in a lot of these details. I'm not sure the control was there as strong as the arcade, but like in general, this looks really good.
What do you think about it, Ferg?
I mean, yeah, what you guys said, it looks worlds better than the other ones, in my opinion. And also, I miss the stars in the other versions, because this one seems to have more stars in the background than the other ones do. I mean, the Intellivision has it in the interim screens and stuff. The Atari one doesn't really have it. The original Atari doesn't have them at all, I don't think. But I really like the stars in the background during the maze portions of the game, because there's a lot of them, and they kind of look like constellations.
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're grouped. I hear you. Yeah.
I really like that.
That's another limitation of the Intellivision. Like,
there's some there, but they're just, you can't really see them that well.
Well, there are in that intermissions in between screens on the maze screens. If they were to put stars in it, it would look the same. It would have to be the same color as the walls, and it would look really weird.
Okay. Oh man, that would be really confusing.
Yeah. I mean, assuming they're using tile graphics the way I understand this, like video chip works and all the crap.
Score poopies all through the maze.
Right.
Oh dear. Man. So, gameplay and sounds. We'll start with the 2600 version, the original 2600 version.
Okay. Well, we talked about the enemies flickering, of course.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys have any trouble getting around the corners? I did a little bit sometimes.
Little bit, yes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not as much as another port I'm going to mention, but still a little bit.
It's just a little bit.
The sounds aren't. How do I say this? I was trying to find out if the original arcade game was in stereo, because I watched a couple videos on YouTube that were when they did the arcade game, but I couldn't find out if it was actually stereo. I mean, this one, it is. The Atari 2600 version is in stereo, but it's not as good as the arcade game, of course, because it can't be really. It sounded okay. It wasn't the greatest ever. There wasn't a lot of sound in it like the arcade game has. But I do like the 2-note theme. Gets faster and faster, and it doesn't sound terrible like some of the sounds on the Atari does. But the 2-note theme getting faster and faster was pretty good. And I was playing this a little bit, and I was doing something, and I had started the game, and it got to the point where it got to really fast. I thought it moved fast the more you shot the guys, but it doesn't. It moves. I guess it has a set amount of time where it keeps moving. It gets faster and faster. So once it got really fast, I just stood in one spot and picked everybody off. It was kind of weird. But I still didn't do very well in this version. This was my worst playing version, I think. I could not get very far in this one. What about you guys?
Go for it, Rick.
Yeah, so I wrote down that I like that it did the danger ahead a Dragnet theme, right?
Yes, yeah.
although it did it with just like one tone, right? It wasn't like
I think so. Yeah.
It wasn't trying to dual tone it to make it sound like an organ, which is kind of like what you get in the arcade. But it had that in there. We always want to call attention when Atari tries to do music. So. So that was cool, and it had that heartbeat thing in the background you mentioned, Furries. It gets faster and stuff. So that was cool. It could have been quiet, right? It could have been silent. So
yeah,
I thought that was neat. I noticed that you're not going to get rapid fire in this version. Like if you're up against a wall in the other versions, or even like you could just pound that button and get a lot of firing out. And this one kind of doesn't have that. You're going to it's a little slower in terms of the firing. Of course, there's no voice. Right.
No, yeah.
We don't expect that at this one. Let's see. I mentioned the Warlock having a seizure. Let's see. I said just like the arcade, better watch out if you don't like if flashing lights or if you're sensitive, because like this thing's going to give you fits with the flashing lights and stuff.
Yeah, it does do a lot of flashing. Yeah.
All these ports do, right? So there's really I mentioned with the side doors just kind of opening and closing on a timer. It seems they don't really allow you to like one of the strategies I'll use, particularly when the Warlock shows up, is I'll run through the tunnel to close the door to keep him in the maze for a little while. You can't do that on this version because it just keeps open and closing. Let's see here. Oh, I noticed that the wizard. So when the wizard shows up, he just appears for a little bit, and he's just firing, bang, 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 and he just jumps around much more than the other versions. Like he's on the screen for a quarter second and then he disappears again. He's just bounding around this screen, whereas the other ones, the wizard will show up and he'll like move around the maze a little bit and then he'll disappear, and then he'll show up and move around the maze a little bit and disappear. This one, he may move like the width of a corridor or something, and then he's gone. he is hustling. He's got someplace to be, and he's moving. I worked out that this is true about most of these ports. Actually, there's lots of wizards, which makes sense for a home port, right? You're playing this game. You bought this game to play it at home. You want to have the full experience. So it's easier to find wizards, I think, in all of these ports than in the arcade machine. I swear, now to be clear, I haven't played the Wizard of Wor like a lot. I've gone back to it here and there over the years, but I don't sit down and play marathon sessions of Wizard of Wor. I don't think I've ever seen the wizard in the Wizard of Wor game in the arcade. Like it's decently rare. I mean, not insanely rare, but decently rare. In these home ports, you're going to get a lot of wizards, which is cool. He's a fun element in the game, but I always get the wizard in the home ports instead of on the arcade machine. Let's see here. I wrote down that it is very slow on the first level. Like I felt like when you start, man, these bad guys are plodding around the screen. It was like molasses or something. They were just really, really slow. And we mentioned the flicker. It does ramp up though, but I think it ramps up slower than the arcade machine does. And of course, I might have been playing on like the simple level or something with
I think there's only the one.
A difficulty switch in A.
1 player and 2 player, I think.
Yeah, difficulty switch in B, I think, or versus A, I think just makes the enemies. I think it's makes them a little smarter or something.
Oh, okay.
They're a little they're like sneakier or something. I don't know how it puts it, but I don't think it affects the speed much. So yeah, you're going to play a few rounds before this stuff gets really moving, I think. Of course, I say that. I'm not sure I ever got past Arena, which is like only the 4th level. But yeah. Oh, and I also noted you don't get a robotic player 2 to play along with you. Is that correct? If you're playing one player.
And see, now they're all running together. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think this one didn't have a computer player.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so that was just missing, right? I mean, it's not like it's a big thing. Overall, though, I think this is a great port. Like back in the day, this would have been awesome to have on your 2600. This is a great port of this game. The gameplay is pretty much there. It's approximating the arcade the way you expect on a 2600, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I played it a lot on my 2600 when I got mine. I can't play it worth a darn, but the gameplay is there. I mean, it actually captures the feel of the arcade version, even though it don't look like it. But it's a good game to play on the 2600.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys a question?
Oh, good Lord.
I don't remember which version I was playing now, of course. When you're in the maze and you come up onto an enemy, when you're going to collide with an enemy, if he's not shooting at you, the enemy doesn't kill you. Is that right? Do you bounce off the enemy?
Oh, I saw that in a couple of ports.
Yeah.
Some enemies, I mean, in the arcade for sure, if they run into you, they kill you. And I don't think it was consistent. I think I definitely saw cases, and I think the 2600 was one of them, where I would hit an enemy and I would actually get bumped into a different corner.
Back.
Yeah. I don't know if that's consistent.
Yeah, that happened to me on the Intellivision version.
Yeah, definitely. It happened in a couple of places.
I ran right up into a gore war, and it kind of bounced me to the other side of him. Then he killed me.
Yeah,
it was very weird.
I had a couple places in the Intellivision, particularly. I remember just passing right through an enemy, and I thought, well, it could be. I mean, there's lots of reasons why sprite collision isn't detected in a game that's running a lot of stuff. Like it could happen. So I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting minor little bug, maybe, whatever. But
that's your phase ability.
Yeah, right. But like, I don't know if that was consistent. Like, I don't think it was, but I'm certainly not trying to run into these guys when I'm playing.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So what about the 2600 homebrew gameplay and sounds, Ferg?
All right. Well, this obviously is an improvement. I forgot to plug in my what do you call it?
Target box.
Yeah, I forgot to plug that in. So
no.
I don't know what what the speech sounds like, but the sound by itself is really, really good. The display seems a little bit more squat than the original version. Did you guys find that?
Yeah.
But I mean, it isn't. Otherwise, I mean, it looks terrific. It's a really fun playing game. It seemed like the corners were a little bit easier to navigate in this one than the original, and I don't know. I just enjoy playing it. But I don't know. I didn't get the Wizard in any of these games.
Oh no,
no.
I swear I got.
I'm not good at this game at all.
I swear I got a wizard in almost every game I played.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. What do you think about this gameplay, Rick?
Yeah, so I got to share a little story. Gather around, kids. So I have Willie. I have the heavy sixer that you sent me.
Yeah,
which is super cool to play on, right? So I grabbed my Atari Vox and I'm trying to plug it into the back of that thing, and it will not fit. Like there's something about the way one ridge or where the plastic is, it just won't get in there. So I had to make a custom DB9 extension cable so I could put my Atari Vox on. I took a cable and cut the plastic all around it so it just has the pin sticking out. And because the DB9 cables I have, they're made for the Genesis or whatever. They're a little tight. I couldn't wedge the Atari Vox into it, so I had to got out the Dremel, started cutting some stuff off the end. But now I have a nice little cable that's going to stay with my Atari Vox, so I can plug it in. The speech is, I would say, decent, and it is actually more understandable to my ear than the arcade is. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is. It is much clearer.
I don't. Yeah, I swear. And it's a shame because like the arcade has, like, I actually found a website that put together all the phrases. There's a ton of things this game says.
Yeah.
And all I hear is like what in the world? And it's so crazy because like when you know what it's saying, you can kind of make it out. Like yeah. So there's a handful of phrases. Trying to think of some of the ones that are find me, the Wizard of Wor. Like you hear that, and insert coin. You hear those, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can tell what it's saying. In this one, I would say at least half of the phrases I was picking out, as opposed to in the arcade, which is about under 10%. We're trying to understand what it's saying. So that's really cool. It was really fun to have that plugged in and play this. It was funny. My 13-year-old was sitting there going, "I'll tell you what it's saying, Dad, because I'll be your interpreter for you." Because I'm like, did it just say? Because one of them is, "I'm out of spite." Ha 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 ha, right? And I'm like, did he say he's out of spite? What is that? Cam's like, I think that's what he said, out of spite. I said, I think he's out of pie. I think he's hungry and he's out of pie. That's what he's complaining. It was just, there's so much weirdness in it that, but there are so many phrases, right? So you have to, you should go on the web and find a listing of them so you can understand what it's saying. But it's well done. It's well done with the Atari box.
Yeah.
It looks great. We talked about that. Less flicker, all that good stuff. What else was I say? Oh, I think I mentioned the wizard in the other 2600 port just being blip, 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 blip all over the place. This one, he behaves a lot more like the arcade. He shows up, he walks around a little bit, and then he disappears. And so it's a little bit more reasonable that you might find him and shoot him, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I noticed, by the way, this is just a weird thing. The manual is wrong about how you pick your player choices. Because I'm looking at the manual and I'm trying to figure out how to play it. Because the first couple of games I played was just me. I'm the one guy.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, and then I looked at the manual. I'm like, oh, it'll put the robotic guy in there too. You can have your buddy along. Let's. How do I do that? It's hit the select button a few times. Well, the manual tells you to cycle through the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's basically it's you alone, the other guy alone, you with a computer-controlled other guy, the other guy with a computer-controlled other guy, or 2 players playing, right? That's the 5 setups, right? So I wanted me in the left controller and computer playing the other guy, and the manual tells you which is wrong. So what happens, the manual tells you it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is 1 player, 2 is you with the CPU, 3 is 1 player, the other guy, 4 is CPU with you, and 5 is 2 players. But it's really 1 player, then you're the other player, then so on. Who cares? But the point is that I was just like, wow, they got that wrong. It's kind of weird. On the screen, it's real easy to understand what you're looking at. When you're hitting the select button, you'll see a guy, just a blue guy, or you'll see just the yellow guy, or you'll see a blue and yellow guy, but the blue guy's walking, and then you'll see a blue and yellow guy. But the yellow guy's walking, and so it tells you which one you are, right? Which makes sense. So it's a nice interactive thing to allow you to pick from any of the different possibilities. I like to have the computer guy with me when I'm playing, just because he's extra points. You can shoot him, and I put a victim in there. I put a victim in there so I could get more points, right?
Excellent.
I'm like, hey, which by the way, I think it was the Coleco. One of these has a super aggressive second player.
Yeah, it's Coleco.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to score points. What are you killing everybody? We'll talk about it. But yeah, this is a great port. This is just super fun. I didn't have any real problems with, the gameplay per se. And I guess we should mention it has a maze editor.
Yes.
That you can. I pulled it up and looked at it. I'm not going to make mazes at this time.
No, I didn't either, but it's kind of cool.
It's cool to have it, right? And,
Yeah.
and I think it has some customized mazes that are built into it, and you can override them with your own kind of a thing. So you can play some alternate mazes if you want to, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game, and I really enjoy playing this version on my 2600. Pretty good.
Oh, hey, one other thing I thought was pretty funny. So the original one, the arcade says, hey, insert coin. This one did say something about insert coin a couple times, but it says, hey, press game reset. Which is cool.
That's pretty awesome. So, Rick, what about the Intellivision homebrew game?
Gameplay and sounds and stuff, right? Yeah, so, shoot. I had notes and I forgot them. I was going to say that the original 2600 version, way back, we've already done with it. I thought that when you shoot, it sounds a little cutesy.
Yeah.
It didn't sound right to me. The sounds of and I like the heartbeat stuff, but the shooting was a little bit cutesy. Okay, I'm sorry. Should have remembered to do that then. Intellivision. Like we mentioned, how it looks pretty good. So it uses the IntelliVoice to get the voices.
Yep.
And it uses the IntelliVoices, what are called the built-in phonemes. So it's not custom voices for this game. And I think that is just an unfortunate characteristic of where we are in the Intellivision community with homebrews right now. There are some homebrews that have recorded voices in them, like that are used, like the original Mattel releases of like Bomb Squad and B-17 Bomber and stuff.
Yeah.
They had voices recorded in the studio that they digitized and played through the IntelliVoice. But the IntelliVoice also has built-in sounds that you could construct words out of, and so it's easy to just activate that stuff. It's harder to get the sounds recorded and then get the sounds properly encoded so they can be in a game to use the IntelliVoice. And so, like, in the homebrew community right now, that's a bit of a sticking point. Like, oh, who's got the tool chain again to let us process voices for the IntelliVoice? I get the feeling that there's only a few techie gurus in the Intellivision homebrew community that know how to do this. So if you want voice in your game, unless you're willing to jump through some hoops and get on somebody's schedule, and there's a lot of stuff, you're going to have to just use the phonemes that are in it. And that's what this homebrewer decided to do. So it's not quite as authentic sounding to my ear. To my ear, it jumps out as, oh yeah, the Intellivision phonemes. I've heard those before. It's just kind of a thing with the Intellivision, I think. So that's, to me, slightly unfortunate, but like, it's still good to have them. It's still good to have the voices, I guess. And honestly, the Wizard of Wor voices aren't super like distinctive and detailed and whatever.
No, no, they're not.
They're quite hard to understand. So,
yes, they are.
But when I heard it talking, I'm like, oh, okay, they're using the built-in stuff. This is kind of under graphics, but I did note that after playing the Atari versions, this one seems a lot brighter. The colors are really popping, as opposed to the 2600 versions. Okay, so all right, we got to get down to it now. This version has control issues. There is no doubt. I was playing this and getting super frustrated, both with the disc and with my arcade stick. So if you have a game like this, Pac-Man, anything where you've got a character who's moving through a maze, and the maze corridors are pretty much close to the size of the character, right? So we're not talking about Berserk, where there's a lot of space. We're talking about your character is as wide as the corridors, right? And in this game in particular, your character is as wide as kind of a cell in the maze, if you think about the cell being a grid. So, and the arcade game has problems with this too. I think we could talk about general gameplay issues around the game. But in the Intellivision, like, you have to get super centered, like in the corridor to make turns and to get yourself situated to shoot somebody. And I don't know, so many times I would be almost at the center and try to turn left, but instead I would walk upward or walk downward, depending on where I was. The cornering is rough, and it just makes it difficult to get yourself squared away, ready to fire down these corridors to shoot these guys. This port seemed to me to be the worst of the bunch in terms of that element of getting yourself. You could put it all under the big umbrella, maybe cornering issues, but it's not all cornering, because it shows up a lot in cornering. But it's you get yourself, you're walking down a corridor and you want to stop at a horizontal corridor so you can start shooting, and if you're not lined up perfectly, it just doesn't work. So I think this one had the worst of the bunch on that one. And that is unfortunate, like, because it's a pretty good looking game. I think it's a pretty fun game overall. It's a good port of the game. I just wish they'd done a little more polishing on the controls. So let's see. I didn't have any issues. I have a lot of notes around the sounds. I think the sounds are decent. The music sounded good between the Dragnet theme or whatever. Sounded pretty good in between and stuff, and had the nice interstitial screens of Double Dungeon and all that kind of stuff. It had a lot of the stuff that you associate with the game, and it looked and had those pieces. The control kind of ruined it for me.
That's too bad.
What do you think about it, Ferg?
Well, like I said earlier before we started recording, I bought the ROM for this, and I don't know what I did with it, so I wasn't able to play the game, unfortunately. I looked at a video. I agree with what Rick said about it does look a lot more colorful. I'm not sure why that is, but it does. I couldn't get the control issues from watching the video, unfortunately. So it's basically the way it looks and the way it sounds, and I like the sounds on it. It doesn't sound I've complained about this before, how all the television games kind of sound the same to me. This one doesn't sound like that. I don't know if it was able to access the exec, or they had to go around that like a lot of other games do. That's why?
I would bet good money they're not using any of the exec routines in this.
Gotcha.
Almost all the homebrews just ignore the exec. They literally do the 2 or 3 things right at the start of boot up to grab control from the exec, and then they run.
Oh, okay. I got you. What you said about the theme, the Dragnet theme, it sounds like it's in a major key instead of a minor key.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice
but that. That's a minor quibble.
That's good
for a music guy. So
yeah.
Other than that, I can't really comment on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Rick on a lot of the points that he made already. My biggest problem with this game was the controllability. I like the game. It has some good sounds, but I had a real hard time controlling this game. It was no fault of the controller or anything. It's just this game was hard to control.
Yeah, for me, and I've played Intellivision all my whole life, so the disc is not a clumsy thing for me. It was, I did have I felt like I was getting a slightly better control when I used an arcade stick than the disc, but it still had the same issues. You're kind of, and so I don't know if this is a good place to talk about it, but like this game, the game itself, like on the arcade, every port of it, whatever other, has this kind of weird, I don't want to say playability problem or whatever, but because the enemies eventually start going so much faster than you, right?
Yeah.
In all of these ports, right? So your only strategy you can do if you're by yourself particularly is to like get into a corridor and just start firing.
Yeah.
Because they move so fast, they're going to run into your bullets eventually if you just keep firing, right? So, because you can't chase them down, they're so much faster. So the game tends to be at the higher levels a whole lot of waiting in a corner firing you're waiting for the enemies to show up and get into your line of fire. That tends to be what it's doing, and that's a weird kind of, I don't know, it feels like a weird dynamic. And your guy moves sluggishly slow, I would argue, in comparison to the enemies in all the ports and the arcade machine. This is I'm just talking about the game per se. And so like I get like super nervous playing this game when I want to go down a corridor and get myself turned left to shoot. Odds are only 50% I'm going to pull that off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
On any of these ports. Or if I'm standing there at a corner and I can shoot up or I can shoot left, just getting myself turned and oriented and fire, can I get that sequence of events to happen before that fast-moving thing comes down and just obliterates me, right? It's just like, this happens in this game regardless. It's not a fault of the port. And it's just kind of a weird, frustrating game. And unfortunately, in the Intellivision, if you've got rough controls, it's worse. It's super frustrating on this. I had so many cheap deaths that I was like, come on, And another element of this that, again, is just in the game, not the ports, is that when new enemies spawn, they randomly spawn in the game. There's not like a monster box where they come out of. They're just showing up somewhere. So sometimes they're just 2 squares that way, and they show up and they shoot you just immediately from coming on screen. Yeah. So it's got that element to it too, which can make the game pretty frustrating. It always felt like to me, as I was going dungeons and dungeons in, I'd get to about dungeon 5 or 6, and it's like, good luck. Who knows? They're moving so fast. There's nothing I can do. They're appearing right in front of me and killing me. Like, what's the point? Yeah. Anyway, so this game has that kind of feel to it that's kind of weird. It shows up, I think, in all of the ports, although less in the Astrocade, which we haven't talked about or anything, but and even less, I think, in some of the Atari stuff. But like, you get up to these higher levels and just good luck. You can't, I don't know how people are, we were mentioning earlier, like, who's good at this game? I don't know how you're good at this game. It's just
there's some out there that are very good at this game.
Yeah. I am not, and I think most people are not.
Oh man, so now, last but not least, the ColecoVision homebrew version by Team Pixel Boy. I remember when he advertised this one. It definitely was on my hit list to buy immediately, a complete box version. And as typical with Team Pixel Boy stuff, he didn't disappoint. It's really good gameplay wise. and especially sound-wise. It's the only one we've talked about that doesn't require an external module for it to talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the cartridge,
Yeah.
which is outstanding, and it's not too bad. I can make it out fairly well. The music in this game is actually really good. I dig the danger theme in
Yes.
this. It kind of reminds me a lot of the arcade version. I like how the shots look like actual laser bolts and not little dots.
Mhm.
I like that graphical aspect of it in the gameplay, and I dig the sound effects when you shoot one of the enemies. I love that sound effect. I've always have liked that sound effect. It's pretty awesome. So, what do you think about it, Ferg?
This was amazing. I don't have any of the add-ons for the ColecoVision, so I had to play it on an emulator. But just the fact that everything was in there, I didn't think I was going to get the speech because of that, but it's in there, and it's it's pretty much, it looks exactly like the arcade version. The sound is a little bit diminished from the arcade version, but it's still really, really good. And I love in this game, I think it's in the original arcade, whenever you shoot, the warrior kind of raises his gun up a little bit. I don't think that appears in the original Atari version, but I think it's in the rest of the version. I just love that little graphic of that.
Like the recoil effect.
The recoil, yes.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Makes it give the makes it feel like the weapon has some power.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it does that, gives you that feeling.
Yeah, but I think, well, we'll get to that later, but I enjoy playing this one a lot.
What about you, Rick?
I thought this was kind of fun, and one of the elements of being kind of fun was that it makes you simulate inserting coins, like it's like an arcade machine. You have to hit the pound sign a couple of times to credit the game before you can pick your guys, which was pretty cool. It's an odd thing to do on a home on a home console. I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well, let's simulate that. I mean, it makes sense on a main cab, but it's just kind of a strange. I'm like, how do I get this thing started? I'm like, well,
yeah.
Thankfully, I have a CIB copy. I'm going to pull out my manual and read. I'm like, put in quarters. What the crap? So that was kind of fun, kind of weird. It does speak, but of course, it freezes the screen when it does that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, but it's what's expected from this hardware, right?
Yeah.
The reason that the Atari Vox and the Intellivoice are what they are, external pieces of hardware, is the CPU can send a command over to let that thing do its job while it keeps running, right? The ColecoVision has to do it all itself, so it's got to freeze to do that. But so you only get the voices like at interstitials, between the screens or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's cool. I think it's neat. You guys both mentioned the music. The music to me is like super wobbly sounding, like it's it's really and it's simulating the sound of an organ, right? Which is kind of what you get in the arcade.
Yeah, it's trying to.
I felt like it might have pushed that a little far. I feel like it's really, really gurgly when it's playing the sounds, but it does evoke the arcade well. Like you definitely oh yeah, that's what that was. So I don't know if it's more than the arcade had or not, but it kind of jumped out at me. It's like, wow, we're really gargling here as we're doing the sounds. But yeah, I mean, it plays like the game. It looks like the game. It's really good. When I first started playing it, after playing the other ports, I felt like my guy was a little slidey, like he was just kind of moving a little, like it didn't feel like I was controlling him directly as well. But either I got used to it or I switched to a different controller, because I did change the controllers a couple times with this. I don't know. I that didn't bother me after like a minute. So whatever I was thinking was going on originally with him feeling kind of like he was skating around, didn't stay true. So it might have just been the effect of having just played 3 other ports before this or something that made it feel funny. But yeah, it's really good. Like we mentioned about the graphics, your players are multicolored. Yeah, it's Wizard of Wor jumping off the screen at you. It's really good.
Yeah, it's actually really good for conversion of the game.
Insert toy. Okay. You are in the science war. Right from my pet and you explode. Ha 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 ha.
If you get too powerful, I'll take care of you myself. Keep going and you will find me. Ha 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 ha. Oh Lord, be forewarned, you approach the pit. Now you get a heavyweight. Ha 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 ha. Get ready, warrior. Get ready, warrior. I must have forgotten the wall. Ha 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 ha. Remember, I'm the wizard, not you. I am now getting away. Get ready, warrior. Get ready, warrior. You'll never play war alive. You'll never play war alive. No more and no more become invisible. Ha 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 ha. Your bone will land in the dungeon of war. Ha 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 ha. Beware, you are now in the warlord dungeon. I'm the Wizard of War. You'll get the arena, ha 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 ha. You'll get the pit, 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 ha 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 ha. You'll never play war alive, ha 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 ha. I'm the wizard, not you. Get ready, warrior. I'm the wizard. I'm the wizard. You'll never play war alive, ha 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 ha. No more and no more become invisible.
So, high scores.
Oh,
2600 version. Ferg?
the original one?
The original, yes. Original.
3100.
3100?
Yeah.
Oh my.
I'm not good at this one.
Wow. Holy cow.
It's going to get a little tiny bit better after this.
Okay.
How about you, Rick?
22,500.
Awesome. I got 26,900.
Nice, Willie. Good job.
Yeah, you can watch my video. That's where I'm getting these scores from, because that's the best scores I've had.
Nice.
The homebrew version, Ferg.
13,100.
You did better.
Yeah.
How about you, Rick?
I should mention I switched it to novice because I wanted to see how far I could get, kind of a thing. I didn't leave it in the middle at standard, so maybe maybe mine doesn't count. But I got 33,900.
Wow.
Wow. Got 56,900.
Oh, Willie.
Oh, man.
Nice.
Holy cow.
The Intellivision version, Rick.
So playing with 7 warriors, which is what I wanted to do. My best was 77,700.
Wow.
Holy cow.
How about you, Ferg?
I didn't get this one.
0.
Right.
I only got 33,600 with 7 warriors.
Wow.
They were worrying a lot.
The warriors.
Now for the ColecoVision version, the Team Pixel Boy, I got 16,800. What'd you get, Rick?
Again, 7 warriors. I got 21,600.
Ooh. How about you, Ferg?
I got 15,700.
Ooh, we're all pretty close right there.
Yeah.
That's
All
too
right.
bad.
Couple
Good
wins for
score.
Willie. Couple wins
Yeah.
for me.
For me. Take that.
Yeah, Paul to destroy all of us this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep Paul off this
expecting
show.
a
I can
I
keep Paul out of here. I can do
pictures to
well.
pop up and fall. Well, I got this score. I got that score. I got this score. We all had a chance to win this week.
So, Willie, did you want to mention anything about the other couples?
Yeah, let's talk about some of the other conversions of the game.
Oh, cool.
You know, the one I played the most of, even after it came out on my 2600, and also after it came out for the Atari 100 computer, I always went back to playing it on my Bally Astrocade.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adore this game on the Bally Astrocade.
It's great.
Even though it doesn't have the speech at all, the music is really good, and graphically it looks really, really nice. And it's got that kickback feature that Ferg likes so much. Oh,
Right.
but it's one of my favorite versions of the game to play on pretty much any home console. I still go back to it, even though I don't have an Astrocade anymore. I play it on emulation and just adore that game.
Yeah, I played it a little bit too. I thought it was kind of funny because it kind of has a squashed look to it vertically.
Yes, it does.
And the way the graphics are, you look like you're a little child, like you got a big head.
Yes, yes, you do.
Which is kind of fun. I played on easy level, and easy is too easy. Nobody fires at you except for the wizard.
Yeah.
So
true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you really want to play on medium
That's
because
what
I
played
just
a lot. Yeah.
I mean it's fun. You can just
Oh,
stand there and you can stand there and take them out. Like it's kind of fun from that perspective. But like it's a little too easy, I think, on the easy one. And I did mention that the Burr Wars and the Thur Wars look a lot similar to each other, sort of like the 2600 was using the same sprite. I don't think they're exactly the same sprite, but they look similar. And I think it's the only other version I played before this, which out of the time was the 5200. I think this is better than the 5200 version. It's really good.
Yeah, the 5200 version is pretty much identical to the Atari 8-bit. So yeah, it's very, very good.
Did you mention it's called The Incredible Wizard for some reason?
No. The early on it was called Wizard of Wor, but they got in trouble with that, I think. So they changed it to The Incredible Wizard.
That's weird.
But I remember the copy my dad had when he first got it. We drove clear up to what was the name of that place? There's an electronics store up in Chicago. I can't remember the name of it, that we used to go to buy new release Bally Astrocade games. It's the closest place that my dad could find them.
Oh, wow.
It's like a 3-hour trip to go up there. So we'd go to the
Jeez.
museum. We'd go to
Wow.
the museum and we'd make a day of it, run around, do different things up there, just go pick up a game. But I distinctly remember when he brought this game home, we popped it in. It said Wizard of Wor on the title screen.
Mm-hmm.
When you select 1, 2, or 3 or whatever. And then later on it got changed to Incredible Wizard. But yeah, it's actually a really great game. It's one of my favorite versions of the game. Did you guys happen to see the? I don't know how old it is, but there was a work in progress for a version of Wizard of Wor for the Nintendo NES.
Really? No, I didn't see that.
No,
Yes,
I've seen it.
I found a ROM of it, and I gave it a try. It's actually really good.
Huh.
I'm really hoping this guy finishes it, because if he finishes it, I'll pick it up. It's actually pretty cool. Of course, I did try the Wizard of Wor on Commodore 64, which is absolutely incredible. That's a really good version of the game to play.
I didn't pull it up for this recording here. I have played it in the past and remember it being a really good one.
Oh yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I did play the 5200 one.
Oh yeah, I played that one too on my Atari 8-bit. So yeah,
I thought that one jumped out at me after playing these really great homebrews for these other systems. It jumped out at me as like not aging all that well. Like
Really?
Yeah.
it's still good though. It's not bad.
Yeah, multicolor sprites on just about everything. But
Yeah.
I thought the Burr Wars looked like cats.
Yes, yes, they do.
Decent sound though, definitely a fun game to play. But like the ColecoVision looks and plays better. Like it's just kind of like wow.
Yeah.
But of course these are homebrews from later when
Yeah.
they have a lot of time to polish it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a Java edition of Wizard of Wor you play in your browser.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I went on a kind of a Wizard of Wor kick for a little bit. I was looking for different versions of it to make videos on, and I was finding all kinds of different versions of it.
That's cool.
I think there's one for that Pico 8 as well. I think I haven't made a video on that one, but I think there's one for that as well.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Wizard
get
of Wor is pretty popular.
I want to get a good platform that I can play Pico 8 on. I mean, I'm sure I can install it on my laptop and stuff, but like that's not where I do a lot of gaming. I need to find a platform that I can get an emulation version of it running. And
I don't know what it is about that Pico 8 stuff. I just really enjoy playing those games. I don't know what it is. They're kind of cool looking graphically, and there's some pretty good ones over to the play, especially some of the arcade recreations that people have done are really, really awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's just a really neat. I don't, it's fictional hardware, right? We're just going to limit ourselves to this, and let people go at it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's some really incredible games over it. Highly recommend people go check it out, because you can play all these games in your browser, and they're very simple games. You use the Z and the X key for your two fire buttons and your directional arrows. Some of them will support a controller if you have a controller plugged into your computer. I mean, it's really cool. Great way to kill some time, which I really need to do. Yeah. So anyway, I know we tend not to record episodes for like months at a time, but we were talking about doing Pitfall. I mean, we probably ought to stay away from a homebrew episode since we've done it twice now, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll probably like Pitfall or something. I do know now that a homebrew version of Berserk has been released for the ColecoVision, we can do a Berserk episode now because we got Robot Army on the Intellivision.
Right.
Oh.
So we have Berserk on the Atari, Berserk on the ColecoVision, and now we have this other one on the Intellivision. So we actually do a Berserk episode. So keep that in the back of your mind. I'm going to try to get a hold of a Robot Army. So we can try to do an episode of Berserk sometime, because I absolutely love that game.
Yeah, I do too.
It's a really good one. But
so are we decided we're going to try for Pitfall next time?
Yeah, I think we'll do Pitfall.
I have never sat down and tried to get all 20 treasures.
I haven't
following a map. I'm never going to do it flawlessly. Let's give up on that crap. But I can. But like you could probably, if you follow there's maps out there or whatever. It's probably very possible to work at it enough and get all 20 treasures. I'd like to accomplish that at some point in my life.
Yeah, me too.
I want to contact David Crane. Hey, you want to come on the podcast and cuss a lot? It's open season, man.
Oh God.
But yeah, for those who don't know, Ferg has an episode where he talked to David Craig about Pitfall. So you need
that's because of you. So thank you.
You need to go check that out. Yeah, he was a pretty cool dude. I
Yeah.
actually got my Pitfall 2 signed by him when I was out at Classic Game Expo. That's where I went and got all those different Atari programmers and stuff, make those bumpers for your podcast, which was a lot of fun to do. A lot of them actually listened to the podcast, which is pretty awesome.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So he's known out there. They know who he is. Mr. Polaro has a hit out on you, buddy.
Yeah, I just used it again for the Pitfall 2 episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so everyone, that was Wizard of Wor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yay! So until next time, everybody. I have no idea what I'm going to say. Good night. Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night,
Yay.
everybody.
All right, hit the stop button on this fucking thing.
Atari, the fun is back.
It's the closest thing to the real thing.
Because your vision is our vision.
No other video game stacks up to Atari.
Atari left me rather flat.
Sorry, Atari. I play on ColecoVision.
Nobody's hotter than Atari this summer.
The arcade quality game system, ColecoVision.
Have you played Atari today?
I have played Atari today. That's why I play Intellivision.
The best game in town just got better. ColecoVision.
I'll try almost anything.
Why did you buy Atari? Why are you doing that? Why? Please don't do that again.
Intellivision is so good, Coleco copied half their name.
The Atari video computer system. More games, more fun.
No other company offers you as many different video game cartridges as Atari.
I played on ColecoVision. I played on ColecoVision. Mattel's M Network and Imagine. We played on ColecoVision.
Intellivision from Mattel Electronics. In my opinion, if you try them both, there's only one conclusion you can come to.
More games, more fun.